Are you thinking about hiring a virtual assistant? I am suddenly getting a lot of questions about this, and it's not at all surprising, right? Business is starting to pick up a lot. Well, maybe not as much as we would like, but I am hearing that we're pulling ourselves out as business owners from the pandemic, and we're starting to see a little bit more business as normal, which means we have to start delegating again, and that's when virtual assistants come in handy. But there are some very key considerations when you're hiring. So I'm Nancy Schick of Third Year Conflict Resolution. I'm an employment attorney and mediator in New York City. And so I'm going to talk, of course, from the perspective of employers in New York. But these are also things that you would want to check out no matter what state you're in, because the worker, the virtual assistant that you hire, might be in New York. So the number one thing that I tell all of my clients you have to ask before you hire any kind of contractor is, who is going to be the employer? And where does this come up? It's where you go and you find one of those many services online that offer virtual assistants, and they don't tell you that those virtual assistants are considered independent contractors of that particular business. So why is that important? Because if they're not employees of the service that you're hiring in New York, depending on what kind of work they're doing, they may be your employee, which means if you haven't set up workers' compensation, disability, paid family leave, and are prepared to pay sick days if necessary, then you could be non-compliant. You could get hit with a huge penalty for not having all those coverages in place. So when you're negotiating that contract for your virtual assistant, you need to be asking some of those questions. What state law is going to apply? Now, when it comes to employee issues, if that particular virtual assistant is declared your employee, you don't get to contract around it, right? Like I can't say, oh, I'm in New York, but Kentucky has more favorable laws for employers, so I'm going to choose Kentucky or Delaware, right? No, if your worker is in the state of New York, they're going to be covered under New York employment laws if they're deemed your employee. So can you see now why I think this is a really important issue? You need to know who's liable, and it's much better to find out now and set that up front than to get that penalty notice and find out that you did it wrong. So if you're not sure, I'm going to put a link in the notes to the video to set up a consultation with me, and I'll be happy to go through the criteria with you. In the meantime, keep listening with your third ear for those hurts you can heal.